The other night, I caught myself doing something I don't love to admit. I was doom scrolling. The old algorithm really got a hold of me. And I saw someone post that was my age, new house, promotion, engagement, big announcement. And I felt it, that small, tight thought like, oh, I'm late. Not dramatic, just quiet. Just this strange sense that I missed a deadline and no one officially gave me. And what bothered me wasn't jealousy. It was the feeling that everyone else understood the timing of life except this guy right here. If that feels familiar, stay with me. We pretend timelines are natural. Graduate by this age, career by that age, relationship by this age, stability by this age. But those aren't universal truths. They're averages. And averages erase nuance. They don't account for detours, mental health, risk, reinvention, discovery, recovery, experimentation. When I felt behind, I wasn't measuring my growth. I was measuring my visibility against someone else's milestones. That's not objective. That, my friends, is distortion. There was a stretch of my life where nothing looked impressive. No big announcements, no visible wins, no shiny updates. If you checked my life from the outside, it would have looked static. But internally, everything was reorganizing. I was reading more, questioning more, letting certain ambitions dissolve, realizing some goals weren't actually mine. They were imposed on me from childhood. No one claps for that season. No one reposts it. But that season changed everything. The foundation was being rebuilt quietly. And quiet rebuilding doesn't look like progress, but it is, my friends. Behind is usually code for uncertain. When you say feel behind, what we often mean is, I don't have proof yet. Proof makes you feel safe. A title, a ring, a salary number, a key to a door, physical, tangible things we can show people, we can post on Instagram, we can talk about, we can laugh about. Without proof, you feel exposed, like you're just drifting. But drifting and forming can look identical from the outside. That's the uncomfortable part. Comparison compresses reality. When you compare your life to someone else's, you're comparing your progress to their outcome. You see their milestone, announcement, moment of arrival. You do not see their panic last year, their debt, their doubt, their compromises, their invisible work. Comparison edits their story and highlights your uncertainty. Of course you feel late. You're comparing a draft you to a headline. I remember once being at dinner with friends and someone casually mentioned their big achievement. Everyone celebrated and I kind of smiled. But internally, I did this rapid mental audit of my own life. Have you guys ever done that? What have I done? What am I building? Am I wasting my time? By the time dessert came, I wasn't even present anymore. I was competing silently, rolling things over and over in my head. And the realization hit me later. No one at the table was measuring me. Only me. That was humbling. What if you're not late? You're just early. This is where everything changed for me. What if behind is just the feeling of being early in something that hasn't materialized yet? You're a late bloomer. Nothing wrong with that. Like stopping at a traffic light. It's like you're with a group of people. You're right at the very end of this group of people and you come up to the traffic light and everyone gets through the traffic light except you. And you feel like, what happened? I didn't make it through that light. But now if you reframe it, you're actually at the start of all the group of people behind you. You're not late. Early looks like uncertainty, low validation, slow traction, invisible effort. But early also means potential, space, direction forming, freedom to shape it intentionally. Maybe you don't fit the timeline around you. Maybe you march to the beat of your own drummer. Maybe you're building something that doesn't follow it. Growth doesn't always feel like motion. We think growth should feel like acceleration, like the wind blowing through our hair. But sometimes growth feels like sitting still, saying no, outgrowing people, letting something in quietly, not chasing something you used to want. That doesn't look productive. But restraint is a form of maturity. There are decisions I didn't make that moved my life forward more than the ones I did. That's hard to measure, my friends, but it's real. This pressure to catch up oftentimes creates the wrong moves. When you feel behind, urgency takes over, anxiety. You're going in a direction that just is moving somewhere. You don't know where you're going, but you just feel these feelings inside and it's like, I gotta move. Urgency says, do something big, post something impressive, force momentum, make it look like you're progressing. But urgency is not clarity. It's anxiety dressed up as ambition. Some of the worst decisions people make are made in the name of catching up. Are you one of those people that feel like you're always playing catch up? Wrong job, wrong relationship, wrong identity, all because they didn't want to feel late. One afternoon, I asked myself something simple. Late to what? There was no contract, no universal clock up on the wall, no cosmic expiration date, just pressure. And when I couldn't find a real deadline, I realized most of the anxiety was imagined. The timeline wasn't real. The comparison was. That, my friends, was freeing. You can move fast and still be misaligned. You can hit every visible milestone and still feel unsettled. Or you can move slowly and feel internally steady. Behind is a social measurement. Alignment is personal. And alignment lasts longer. It's the cornerstone of who you are. Here's the line that settled everything for me. You're not late. You're becoming. Becoming doesn't trend. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't always look impressive, but it's powerful. If you feel behind, maybe you're not failing. Maybe, my friends, you're forming. And forming takes time. Not because you're slow, because you're building something that fits you. And that's worth the pace. I'm Scott Stewart, and you're not crazy.